Hello everyone, and welcome to another video on the Europe Truck Driver channel. Right at the beginning, I want to ask you, if you like my videos, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of the drives. And before we get into today's route, I have a question for you. What's your favorite highway in Europe? Write it down in the comments. Today we're heading to one of the busiest and most interesting German highways, specifically the A4. Buckle up, because we have a journey full of beautiful views and challenging sections between the cities of Jena and Gera. Right now, we are driving through a section where the A4 highway winds through a beautiful rolling landscape. Notice the hills and green forests typical of Thuringia. It's no coincidence that this region is nicknamed the Green Heart of Germany. Forests cover almost a third of its area. This route is known for really testing a driver's skills. Climbs and descents are no exception here. The A4 highway takes us along the Thuringian Forest mountain range, which stretches for about 70 kilometers and is home to the famous Rennsteig Trail. This trail is considered one of the oldest long-distance hiking routes in Germany, with the first written records dating back to the 14th century. It runs along the ridge of the mountains, measures 168 kilometers, and is very popular not only with tourists but also with locals. And let me not forget, according to tradition, hikers on the Rennsteig greet each other with "Gut Runst" instead of the usual "hello." We are approaching the city of Jena, which has a truly fascinating history. The first mention of the settlement dates back to the 9th century, and it gained town rights in 1230. The city was even nicknamed the Athens on the Saale because of its importance in German idealism and romanticism at the turn of the 18th and 19th centuries. This is where great minds like Goethe and Schiller met, who significantly influenced all of German culture. Today, Jena is a modern university city with more than 100,000 inhabitants where life pulsates. It is a center for science and research thanks to the Friedrich Schiller University, one of the oldest in Germany, founded in 1558. The city is mainly famous for its optical industry, thanks to the world-renowned company Carl Zeiss. It was founded here in 1846, and it's where the precision optics used all over the world were born. If you have some time in Jena, I definitely recommend stopping and taking a walk. Among the most interesting places are Gen Tower, a modern skyscraper that is the city's landmark. For a few euros, you can get to the observation deck and enjoy an incredible view of the entire valley. Zeiss Planetarium, one of the oldest planetariums in the world, which offers fascinating shows. The admission for adults is usually around 10 to 12 euros. Botanical Garden. For nature lovers, this is the oldest botanical garden in Germany, where admission costs about 3 euros. Romantiker House. In this museum, you can immerse yourself in the history of Romanticism. The admission for adults is usually around 5 euros. And while walking through the city, you will come across the so-called 7 Wonders of Jena, which is a traditional list of curiosities that are now part of a historical tour. Most of them are freely accessible, such as the Napoleon Stein, a monument to the 1806 battle, which is located on a hill and is a great destination for a free hike. The A4 highway around Jena is often very busy, so we're being careful with the heavy traffic. Not far from Jena is another gem, the city of Weimar. This is no ordinary city, it is the historical and cultural heart of Germany. Its golden age came at the turn of the 18th and 19th centuries, when it became the epicenter of German idealism and romanticism. Artists and philosophers from all over Europe flocked here, attracted to the court of Duchess Anna Amalia. The most significant mark was left here by the giants of German literature, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe and Friedrich Schiller, who created their most important works here. This historical chapter is even inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List under the name Classical Weimar. I definitely recommend visiting Goethe's house, where he lived for almost 50 years, or Schiller's house, where he spent the last years of his life. Also worth mentioning is the Duchess Anna Amalia Library, with its magnificent Rococo Hall and the Bauhaus Museum, which reminds us that Weimar was also the cradle of modern design. As we move away from Jena and head further east, the landscape changes slightly, and we begin to notice the characteristic features of the area around the city of Gera. Gera is another historical city on our route, but it is primarily the former seat of the Principality of Reuss. The city has a rich industrial past, and it was no coincidence that it was nicknamed the Textile City. And even though Gera suffered during the Second World War, today it is a modern city with a rich cultural life. If you were to stop here, you definitely shouldn't miss the historical center with the Baroque Altenburg Gera Theater or the beautiful Orangerie, which is now a museum. Among the greatest attractions are the unique Hohler medieval underground cellars that stretch under the entire historical core and were used for storing beer. Admission to the underground costs around 6 euros. Gera is also the birthplace of the world-famous painter Otto Dix, whose work you can admire in his family home, which is now a museum. The admission here is around €5. After the reunification of Germany, Gera's city center underwent extensive reconstruction and modernization, but it still retains its unique atmosphere. In 2007, the city also hosted the Federal Garden Show, Bugay, and thanks to that, Hofwiesenpark was created, which is now a popular place for relaxation and recreation with free admission. This is exactly the type of route I love, a combination of beautiful nature with modern infrastructure. Even though it's only a few dozen kilometers, you realize how diverse Thuringia is. If you plan to stay in Thuringia longer, it's worth heading outside the cities as well. Not far from Gera, you can visit the impressive Osterberg Castle in Weida, whose tower is unmissable from a distance. The castle now serves as a museum where you can learn more about the history of the region and the Volks of Weida. Admission for an adult is around €5. You can also head to the Dornberg Castles, 3 magnificent castles that majestically rise above the Saale River Valley. These 3 structures, the Old Castle, the oldest, a medieval fortress, the Renaissance Castle, and the Rococo Castle, are built next to each other on a rocky promontory. Admission to the castle gardens is free, but you will pay approximately €6 for a combined ticket to the museums in the Renaissance and Rococo castles. It's a place that even Goethe himself loved and spent several weeks of his life here. You can also head to the fairy grottos in Saalfeld, which are listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as the most colorful grottos in the world. During the tour, you'll sail across an underground lake and see incredibly colorful mineral formations. Admission here is around €14. History lovers should not miss the Kyffhauser Monument, a monumental tribute to Emperor Wilhelm I, associated with the legend of the sleeping Emperor Barbarossa. Admission to the viewing platform is around €10. And if you like engineering landmarks, take a look at the Devil's Bridge in Weida, a majestic railway viaduct that is a great spot for photos, and it's completely free. You also can't forget Leuchtenberg Castle, nicknamed the Queen of the Saale Valley, which is home to a unique porcelain museum with interactive exhibits. Admission to the castle and museums is around €13. And of course, don't forget Altenburg, home to an impressive castle and the birthplace of the famous German card game Skat. In short, Thuringia offers so many options that you could spend weeks here. And when we're talking about local tips, you should know that Thuringia is a paradise for food lovers. For example, the famous Thuringian bratwurst, which has a protected geographical indication, is an absolute must-try. It's traditionally grilled over charcoal and served simply in a roll with mustard. And for those who prefer liquid specialties, nearby Bad Kostritz is the home of the world-famous Kostritzer black beer. If you're planning a longer trip, you can head along the Thuringian porcelain route, which connects towns famous for porcelain production. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed our drive on the German A4 highway and that you enjoyed the views between Jena and Gera. Once again, let me know in the comments if you've ever driven here or what your favorite route in Germany is. If you liked the video, don't forget to give it a like, and if you want to see more drives from the Europe Truck Driver channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Cheers!